Oh, what if alternative rock is a different planet?
And that's just soft rock on their planet.
Yeah. Ooh. You didn't think about that.
Do you think soft rock is soft enough to eat?
Like Swiss cheese.
Like butter,
Sandstone?
man.
You could probably eat sandstone.
You think you could eat sandstone?
You can eat
Definitely.
limestone, but you got to worry about the disease.
Right.
Stone disease?
No lime.
Oh. Is that how you get it? Huh. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, that'll tick somebody off.
Tick! Yeah! Yes! Okay! Yeah! I got it! Ticks give Lyme disease. That, if you were to listen back to the joke,
That was good.
that was where he was getting.
Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland, and I know it took me a week, but my coffee cup is full again.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer, and shortly before we pressed this record button, I had explosive diarrhea.
I'm Marcus Whitaker, and my belly kind of hurts too, so I don't know if there's something in the coffee over here.
No, I am the rooster, Richard Laws, and I am perfectly healthy.
Your bowels
Perfectly.
are just...
Bowels are okay.
What?
No COVID, nothing.
Didn't we talk about bowels in the last one too?
Oh yeah,
Just
all
about
the time.
every episode.
It's becoming
Always.
a theme.
Bowel movements and alternate timelines are like our thing.
That's what we stick to.
Yeah.
We like to
Please don't
stick.
pull your beard out.
He's gonna pull it out.
Oh, okay.
That hurts me.
All right. This is a podcast. It's called Nerd It Through the Grapevine. It's where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And I remembered to give the intro when it was time to do the intro.
Ooh, yeah.
We had a couple episodes ago to where I had to take one from a past episode and throw it into that one again, but I don't think anyone's noticed yet.
Nobody noticed it.
But if you
We'll
really
never know.
listen for it, you can tell that it's like not the same like tone or it's the same mic, it's the same tone, but it worked. But you guys
It
didn't
worked.
notice.
I never
You guys
noticed.
didn't, yeah.
Do you ever wish that
you
there
at
was a
home,
way-
You in your car, you didn't notice. I
That
was
we could
slick.
get everybody that listens to our show to actually come out and listen to it, doing like a live thing.
Yeah,
Because-
absolutely.
Because that time that we recorded at your place and people were in the same room, I kind of realized that I didn't notice a thing that anybody was doing, and
I get tunnel vision.
I think that this would be something that we'd be able to do in front of people, and it would be actually okay because I don't really notice that they're there.
Then when I ask for a poll,
You just turn around.
I can
All
just
we gotta
ask
do
them.
is ask the audience, just like off of Who
Like
Wants
phone a
to Be-
friend.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have a bunch of them.
Yeah, we could have lifelines on the podcast. Anybody want to use a lifeline right now?
How
Yeah.
I imagine this going is us setting up at the old mall that's torn down
Cookville?
and on like a card table that's even smaller than this, and there's four of us, and there's like our girlfriends and maybe our parents. That's like the only people that are there.
What's your point?
And
That's
just-
awesome.
And the whole thing is like just this.
Our biggest fans, you mean?
Support. Yeah, that's
Come on.
that's also very true.
Why would you
Yeah.
discredit
My sister
their loyalty?
Crystal? She's one of our biggest fans.
Hello,
she,
Crystal.
would, she would definitely be there too.
Hi, Crystal.
Yeah.
Lonnie Hines listens.
Thank you
now.
for having a brother.
He
named
drives
Dan.
Hey,
a truck.
sis.
So we're going to the past of mine.
Oh,
Love going to the past.
Past nerd culture.
You're doing the nostalgia thing?
no.
Oh, no.
Nostalgia.
Oh,
no,
God.
I have to use my phone, so if you hear any electricities,
It's because I am electric, man.
Yeah. So does anyone know anything about the satanic panic of the early or late 80s, early 90s?
No.
That was what it was deemed? The
That's when I was
satanic
Satanic
panic?
panic.
Or is that a pop punk band? Yeah.
It could also be that. And I think it might be, well, I think it's like some sort of religious podcast.
Okay.
And I also think, shout out.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
To whoever
I hope you guys are cool.
Maybe we can get a shout out on theirs.
Yeah, I hope you guys are cool.
And I
don't
think there might have been a
support anything.
movie as well. There might have been a movie
Okay.
about this. Well, I don't know if it was about this, but anyway, in the late 80s, kind of early 90s, the media had this like huge moral panic over basically D&D, Basically Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. I mean, there were other aspects of it too, but there was just like, supposedly, there was these string of college suicides and disappearances of young people, and they all had Dungeons and Dragons books in their freaking apartments.
Evil kids.
Yeah.
So that was like the only lead, I guess,
Evil.
that they could.
So therefore,
They all
they
had
had
the
to
same
blame
book.
something. That's pretty cool though. That D&D got the had
spotlight.
It's
yeah.
basically what made them so popular. Like
Yeah.
after that, they did nothing but go up in sales.
Yeah.
And I didn't
And
know.
it's because of books like this, which is this is called A Christian Response to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my
It's called
gosh.
the I think that word's catechism.
Is that by C.S. Lewis?
No, but
a book joke.
in the what do you call it, the bibliography of this book, they do quote J.R.R. Tolkien's writings.
Oh, is that right?
Harry Potter. They quote Harry Potter. It's like a reference point.
Well, that kind of links into this topic because this is from the 80s, but I remember when this Harry
book burning,
Potter
yeah.
thing came out, a lot of
I was
people
gonna say, like, once a decade, it seems
somehow
like.
a child wizard threatened everything about their worldview somehow. But this is kind of what happened to in this one. I actually read this whole book. It's only 22 pages. Maybe it's not a book then.
It's
Maybe
more
it's
like a pamphlet.
Yeah. Anyway, parents are concerned.
Wait, he's
And
going to read the
we
whole
will
thing
shoot
right
these
now. Everybody sit back. 22 pages.
There's some parts that are kind of, I just thought it'd be funny to get our responses to this.
Yeah, just touch on some parents.
Our children are growing up in a very hazardous world. Not only are they forced to pick their way through a complex maze of conflicting values at school, in the neighborhood, and out in the marketplace, but they are even being assaulted in the safety, in quotations, of their own homes. Across the airwaves has come a barrage of violent, irreverent, fantastic, and occultic Saturday morning cartoons. Out of the toy box has come a haunting phalanx of magical and monstrous macho images. Off the bookshelf has come a frightening parade of pulp and pap, comics and paperback books that exalt the basest of vices and disdain.
Sounds terrible.
Disdain.
And the highest of virtues. And then, of course, there is MTV. Sex, drugs, violence, rebellion, and defilement on
Hell yeah,
tap
dude.
24 hours a day, all at the flick of a switch and the turn of a dial. That dates it.
Sip of a pants.
Wait, so is that so? That's got to be from the like the mid '80s, mid to late
Yeah,
'80s, right
yeah.
there, because that's
MTV. This is-
They're playing music on the TV that influences their kids.
MTV plays music.
well, back then it did.
You've got grown people that are of the adult age now that don't even know an example of music that MTV would have on it. They don't know.
I don't know.
He's never heard a song in his life.
So it continues here. The seductive siren song of the world has begun to seep into even the most protected of environments. And as a result, the hearts and minds and souls of our children have become a battleground. Amazingly, though, the chief weapon used in this spiritual raid on our children is a game. Just a simple game.
The chief weapon.
A simple little game. It's actually not a simple little game.
No,
Not
it's
at all.
the most complex.
And they actually kind of go back on that in a minute. It's kind of stupid. It's funny how much they know about Dungeons and Dragons and how much they don't know at the same time.
They
This is-
oversimplify.
I think that's
to make
every
it-
one of us that has ever played the game.
Hey, they must have played a lot different version of Dungeons and Dragons back then. Wait till I get to this one part.
Could be like 2E.
Amazingly, though, the chief, I've already read that. It's a simple little game. It is called Dungeons and Dragons.
Bum, bum, bum.
Even more than all the cartoons, toys, comics, books, videos, and music, this simple little game has served to make our children a generation at risk.
But that's a different game. We talked about that last week.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
Tie-in. Man, we were close to tying it in again.
If they would just teach safe sex instead of abstinence, they wouldn't have to be at risk.
And so I thought this was funny. It's got a section in it. What is Dungeons and Dragons? Which is in every Dungeons and Dragons manual. It's like it has to. Oh, it's a tabletop RPG. Which this book calls them FRPs, fantasy role playing.
I think when it came out, that probably was accurate.
Maybe.
I mean,
was
it might be
wondering
an
about
accurate
that.
term for that time.
Yeah, it's just saying it's just so strange.
A fantasy role
reading
play.
that abbreviation rather than the RPG.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what? I don't like that at all. It's Christmas morning, brimming with excitement. Junior opens his first gift, a basic Dungeons and Dragons set. Inside, he finds a rule book, some graph paper, and an odd set of dice.
Oh no!
No game board, no little men to move around the board. He checks the wrapping paper for missing pieces. Then he begins to open the other packages, hoping to find the rest of his game. But Junior has all he needs to play Dungeons and Dragons. The granddaddy.
This just sounds so horrible right now. It's just, oh God! We just spent under $5 and got this kid a toy that he can play for his entire life. Holy shit!
How dare
Holy shit.
they encourage the imagination of this poor at-risk child?
Well, it says in
Someone give
D&D,
him a Bible.
the basic rule is use your imagination, stretch it to the limit. Game boards and little men can be so confining. And then it's funny. It just goes like straight into.
That's like promoting the game. That's like they just explained what makes it so exciting.
Well, listen to that. They basically tell you how to make a character. So it's like next, the player selects his character's race and class. If he wants to be a non-human, there are several races to choose from: dwarf, elf, gnome, half-elf, halfling, half-orc. Each race in turn is divided into several classes, such as clerics, fighters, magic users, and thieves. A player chooses his character class according to the character's strengths. And so it just kind of goes through. It basically tells you how to play. And so I'm like, I've got to be like, somebody read this and was like, I got to get this.
Well, what if this is the conspiracy enemy?
But Eminem?
The conspiracy enemy.
Let's go.
What if someone involved with Dungeons and Dragons like
Was a
created this on purpose?
Well, it definitely helped them.
Because it did help them, and they're like explaining the game inside of it instead of just like really play, because books like this want to play on the fears of parents, and things like
that's
that.
exactly what
but
this is.
This is too much information, like actual information, like when normally it's an emotional based thing. As
Well, they
opposed-
get into that.
I was about to say,
with only 22 pages, they've
I
already used a
feel
lot
like-
of their content.
I feel
Like,
like-
Describing almost every detail of the game.
I feel like they feel like this description though
It's meant to scare.
is terrifying.
is the
Right.
scary part.
It's like,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, you
our
can
brains
create
can't.
a wizard.
Yeah.
Okay, that can raise people from the dead.
You're
Exactly.
telling me
the dead.
You're telling me that they mimic the miracles of our Lord and Savior
No,
on there?
yes,
I just can't.
yes,
I can't do
and
that.
they do it, and it's a game.
We
A game.
We cannot let Jeffrey get a hold of this game.
The moment we start making
No, his name's
raising
Junior.
people like from the dead a game, it's no
Junior.
longer real. So we can't have it in the game. Can't do it. It's a mockery.
They go into like some of the apparently the freeway killer had some D&D books, and they're like oh my gosh, what's going
must
on? And
have
there
been
was
an
like
assassin.
some suicides, and
That's what happened.
police reports around the country have connected FRP, fantasy role playing activity, to more than 100 suicide and murder cases.
Suicides would be related to paladins that failed and they became warriors.
See, you're one of the people that
That
they're
edited
talking
out.
about. They've got their claws in you.
That's like
Of course, not everyone who plays the game becomes suicidal or homicidal. Still, there are an awful lot of unsettling things going on here. One of the chief defenses of FRPs is that they stimulate the imagination.
Oh, go ahead.
This is undeniably true.
everybody run.
The question is whether in this why should we do it in this particular way? Consider, for the example, the level of violence and crime in a typical D&D game. And then they're quoting psychologists. I don't really care about this part. I want to get into the part where it starts talking about how it basically.
The Crusades were basically a D&D game with like religion
Real
being
life.
the ones going and slaughtering people.
Yeah.
And so here's your typical 18-year-old murder hobo. As one 18-year-old player put it, these are games where you get to kill people and get away with it. Much of the violence is sexually oriented, it says.
What?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. They're playing a kind of a different style of D&D.
This is
is
what
where
they
they're making
imagine
it be
happening.
Okay,
So you walk
sexually
into a
oriented.
room. There's 3 people at the table.
Do a roll for initiative.
Dane, what would you like to do? I want to
I want to put my thing on the
Like,
I'm going to take it out and I'm going to put it on the table.
There are people that play that way.
I want to
it's up to
stab
the
them.
DM.
And
It's
as
up to
they're
the DM.
dying, I just want to give it to them.
That's
That's what I want to do.
I just wanna
'Cause I
take-
can't do it in real life, so I want my character to do it hypothetically. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I
of.
stab
so
my sword
stupid.
through their chest. I turn it around and
It's
insert it into the hole, hilt first, and then out,
I
and then in, and then out.
Insert my sword into their sheath to the hilt.
Look how long my sword is.
It's huge.
Oh, but it is but a dagger.
It's still too big for my sheath.
oh boy.
Okay, maybe D&D is really sexual.
I think about it.
No, just
Got a
everything you
bastard
say
sword.
is
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, out of context.
A frustrated writer admitted that he experienced, quote, an incredible sense of power as a dungeon master. He says, in some games, they don't call me dungeon master. They call me God.
Which does happen.
This is again points for. These are still pro points.
Pros and cons list.
Like you're telling me that they stop calling you master and start calling you God? Like, what do you want from me? This sounds
I
awesome.
can make them do whatever I want. What?
You have leveled up to God.
God mode.
So they argue that obsessive escapism of this sort is virtually equivalent to schizophrenia.
Yeah, I can see the connection.
One psychologist
it.
warned that adolescents may become emotionally and mentally disturbed by obsessive participation in FRPs. The greatest danger I see is the escape from reality. These kids take their own unacceptable impulses and put them into fantasy. Schizophrenia is a thought disorder, and D&D confuses the way people think. Thoughts not based on reality are dangerous. One enthusiastic player admitted that D&D had made him a virtual schizophrenic. He said he would probably cry if the character he has been directing for 3 years were to die.
So
Well, yeah, I mean, that's...
Let me-
If you read a book series for so long, and one of the
Exactly.
main characters is killed off, you may have that same reaction, but this is you that
let's
you've
dive
been...
into that for just a second.
Which
Because
part? Because there's so much...
One of my favorite things is I had a character that I played for like 6 years before he died.
That's a long time.
I mean, I didn't play consistently.
What was his name?
Endor. I usually use Endor for everything.
Like the forest
Because of
moon
the forest moon?
Yeah.
How did he die?
A
If you-
bar
if you
fight,
feel like- I mean,
believe,
you don't have to
actually.
tell me if
it
it's
was
too,
a bar fight in
if it's too
a
emotional.
Star Wars D&D campaign, and he was a drunk, and so I was drinking. I got into a bar fight. I started like losing the fight, so I took off running, and I was running through the streets trying to get away, and I had to guess how to get out because I didn't know the streets, and I guessed wrong and ran into an alley, and then I had to fight my way out, and I didn't make it. It was very uneventful.
Tragic?
Yeah.
I just imagine the camera panning out as you're being overtaken, and like it just coming
just
like,
the end
through
of a
the top
great
of the
character.
buildings, and it just fades out.
He was a soldier, and he had made so many like drunkenly great decisions throughout his campaign. I one time he escaped. I'd gotten beaten up and captured, and I was being tortured, and I escaped and crawled through a ventilation system as I'm bleeding out. But like, I had thought to take the time to clean as I was going, and so instead of like taking an hour to get out of there, it took my guy like a day and a half because every time I'm moving, I'm just like covering up the blood, trying to like do it. I don't know. It was so much fun. But then when I would get drunk, like I had to roll to see if I would actually even come up with that idea.
Am I just too drunk to even do this right now?
It was such a unique one. But it was like the hottest rolls I've ever had in my life. Like every decision I needed. But I understand that. Like I
Of
put
course.
time into that and that.
Well, just like he said, even if you watch a one season of a TV show and you're like, and a character dies and it's just like, it ruins you.
Yeah.
You know?
The Red Wedding.
That's just
Imagine
good
being-
fiction.
yeah.
That's just good fiction.
Imagine being the person that's making the decisions that character is making. Like you're the one leading them upon the path that they're on, and then the story decides, no, like you're done. It's over.
Goodbye.
Like you just rolled another character, but that's still.
Could you
It's not the
imagine
same.
what the world would be like if there were no surprises? Because that's pretty much what they want. They want it to be clear cut. They want it to be straightforward. This is what this book says. You're doing what this book says. Don't think more of it. Outside the box, inside hell.
Well, it's to me, it's just like if you're, and I'm not picking on anybody, and I'm not picking on anybody's religion. It just seems like if your worldview's that fragile that fiction can't even go in there, then that's just not my kind of.
But that kind of stuff right there, I can remember that from whenever I was a child, because my mother, whenever I would start playing anything like those type of games, she would instantly cue in to that discussion.
Well, this was a big thing, but like I said, the media was in on this. Like they did like Dateline specials, with Dungeons and Dragons logos behind them, and look at all these demons. And this is the part that I think is the most, probably why it freaked them out mostly. Many of the spells, incantations, and symbols and protective measures are genuine occultic techniques. That's one of the lines I thought was actually kind of funny, because it's assuming that there are genuine occultic techniques.
Well, even if there is, so does every religion. Like,
Right.
like that.
They're
phrase
seeing it
means
as
nothing.
They're seeing it
though.
as a competing religion as well at this
right.
point.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that
And
phrase
that's-
means nothing.
This section
because-
is actually going into that. Several spells, for example, instruct the player to draw a protective circle when communicating with demons, a practice used by real witches. Real witches.
called
Real
protection
witches.
from evil. That's the spell.
No
That's
one
the
should
name of
use
the
it.
spell.
No one should use
Protection
this.
from
Spells often
evil.
require human blood or flesh. The spell for a cacodemon conjuration suggests that by tribute of fresh human blood and the promise of one or more human sacrifices, the summoner can bargain with the demon for willing service.
I've never played one of those
So-
characters before, so I wouldn't know that one.
Me neither.
Eve was created that exact same way by flesh given. So like, I don't get that argument at all. Doesn't make sense.
Well, that wasn't.
Doesn't make any sense
Here's the
at all.
they
You
don't.
can't do that. Oh,
They
well.
believe it's. I think they believe it's too in depth of a world that doesn't glorify God, and
But it
that's
does.
what.
There's
that's,
multiple gods in that world.
I know, but I'm not talking about.
Multiple.
I'm talking about Christian God. Like it doesn't. It
Are you
doesn't
saying that
glorify
world?
Christian God.
I have the stats for Jesus.
He does. He's rolled
He
the
does.
character.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I was actually looking for the part where it says Jesus is actually in the game.
Yes.
Which version has
they have all the-
Jesus as a
This
character?
one has the one they're writing about apparently did.
They have all the different lores of
Yeah.
all the different gods. Like I've got the books of all the Native American gods.
Oh, yeah.
And it but then there's also I've got the
Well, it's called gods and deities, right? Is
yeah,
that what
gods
the
and
thing-
deities. Yeah.
Okay.
And what I've got the one that's based in Asia, where it's like all the
Yeah,
Asian
those are
culture,
really cool.
and it's like all the gods and the myths and the legends from that culture. But they have it for everything. I've got King Arthur. I've got books that cover that, like medieval myths. They do anything and everything. But yeah, Jesus is one of them.
Because the dungeon master has a wide variety of monsters and demons to populate his dungeon. Many of these are drawn from Satanism.
That's true.
Good. That's scary as hell.
Yeah. One of the monsters.
That's why we're killing them.
Exactly. Our goal is to
So you're saying our goal to kill these demons is sending us to hell? I don't get it. Stop letting that dude hit those people on the forehead if that's the way this stuff works.
This is one of them called the Main, is a subdemon who has gone to the 666 layers of the demonic abyss.
That's the mark of the beast.
I'm trying to get to the point where in this part they're arguing this word, I guess I'm saying it right, catechism. So it's like
Cataclysm.
Christians, it's catechism.
no L?
No L?
CATECHISM. Don't know. Catechism, but it says like, through the ages, Christians have used catechisms, and I'm sure other religions as well, to teach the ABCs of the faith to their children. By repetition and recitation, the catechisms enabled them to rehearse biblical basics in a fun, easy to learn manner. And they're arguing that that's exactly what the spells in Dungeons and Dragons is doing for Satan.
So
No, not at all.
how many successful spells IRL have they documented for that specific purpose, since you're training yourself to use these spells? Like as soon as you get out your game session, you go outside and like
Well, the blood magic in Dungeons and Dragons comes from the story of Jesus and like his side being punctured in the spear of destiny and all that. Like
it's derived from
Yeah, like it comes from the
biblical
idea that
things.
something holy, its blood has power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like they kind of warp it and like they make it to where you can take any kind of blood, but you have to like sacrifice them in a ritualistic manner, which is what it was.
But the thing,
It's-
at this time, it was the word fantasy was in the title of what Dungeons and Dragons is.
It's make believe.
It says it on the cover that it's
they do
make-believe.
say that. I mean, they to give them credit. I'm not trying to give them too much credit,
Right.
But they do kind of say, you know.
This isn't meant to be real life. This is.
I mean, I think they, in some way, they understand. It's just like a game, but it's like they just.
It's not just a game.
I think for me, the big fundamental flaw is they think that witches are real, and so
that's why you pull
that's
that
why
out,
they don't
yeah.
want you learning these D&D spells.
There's a
you
lot
know?
of things they think are will.
Dead thing it will.
Sure, but I'm not trying to, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like.
bash on.
I'm just trying to make fun of them a little bit. I mean, nothing's above making fun of.
It is,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Plus,
it's
this is
perfect-
old. This
It's
is way
perfectly
old.
acceptable.
You
There's
make
not
fun
a
of
lot of
D&D
Christians that you find today that still think quite like this.
No, and my mother is that same kind of way. My mother used to anecdotally reference anytime that I would get into this stuff, anecdotally reference this material, and then bring up a friend of my brother's, and I don't know the name. I'm going to say Jeremy. Okay, just because
That is a name.
just for a name.
Oh, what's his name?
Your brother's friend Jeremy, he ended up jumping off the top of the
What is it called? Sunset Rock.
he climbed to the top of Sunset Rock, jumped off because his character died.
And I'm like, is this true, or was this just a depressed individual that happened to also? Because that's basically what it always boils down to me. Is like even young, I'm like, you sure he wasn't just sad? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And
it's-
just happened to have a player's manual in his room, you know?
Oh, a lot of like, where they're saying these like people that commit suicide and murderers and stuff like that. There might have been the commonality of them having D&D books, but there's also a commonality of like introvertism and stuff like that. Like, because when you see like these school shooter kids and things like that, they're always the weird like quiet kids or whatever. And then I think and D&D is a game that a lot of introverts like to play because you're with your most trusted people and you can take on these personas and these characters and create these worlds where you
do some
don't
crazy
It's just
things.
like
you don't have
being
to
in a movie
interact
with your friends. I mean, who wouldn't
exactly.
wanna do that?
That you're making the movie,
Right.
But I think the real connection for the real life death involved with the people that play these games is that introverted
Leave it up.
kind of thing.
so a little excerpt I just read from that because he had his pamphlet open and I was reading it while you.
Oh, I know no one was listening to me while I was talking.
No,
I
I was
think
listening.
Richard was.
I was
I
listening.
was listening.
No, it's fine.
No, I had to.
He's talking about baseball cards.
That's good. What's this?
I don't know. I found it.
baseball cards.
But it said that with Jesus being mentioned inside the game, and Jesus being a deity inside the game, but also believing that within the realm of the game that goblins, dwarves, halflings, elves, all this stuff is real, then you are comparing Jesus as reality to the reality of these fictional creatures. So by you creating a reality where Jesus exists amongst fiction, then you are therefore no less than blasphemy. And I was
Yeah,
like,
like if you lump Jesus in with unicorns, that's bad because unicorns aren't real.
But they do realize, like, when you create a character, you're putting yourself into the game. And by that logic, I would be saying that I'm not real because I'm putting myself into the game as a character.
it's fragile.
That doesn't make sense.
It's a very fragile thing. It seems like it'd be very easily.
Did you know there's a film, there may be multiple, but there's a film like that's based on that material, like a mixture of that material and some others just like it.
Scott Pilgrim.
And it's really funny. There's a YouTuber, John Tron, I think is what he goes by. But he's got a video to where he watches that movie that's about this. And he shows a bunch of clips throughout. You pretty much watch the movie with him. And he takes his little funny breaks and stuff in it. But it is laughably ridiculous. Like, of how,
I think I've seen some of the footage
It's just
from
like
it.
because it's these two like college age girls, and they just get into college and they join this.
want to play D&D?
Yeah, and then this
I don't know.
the lights drop, and it's just like
Are
this
they hot
evil-looking
college
thing.
chicks? Because that's
of
something
course
that
they are.
does-
Everybody
But
that plays
basically,
it's
just
hot.
insert a don't say no to drugs campaign.
Yes.
and just replace drugs with D&D, and that's exactly that.
What we should do is we should play D&D as a group.
I hate D&D.
The three of us.
There are 4 of us. Remember?
Yeah.
But
That's
maybe
what I'm
our
saying.
character is just like somehow fused.
Well,
two souls fused in
We
one
have
body.
what we have to do is we have to have like bad things about our like. Somebody has to have something like somebody has to walk with a gimp. Somebody has to not have an arm.
That would have to be me because one
we
of
have
my
to come
legs
up
is
with
actually shorter than the other one, like in a drastic form. Yeah, you didn't know that.
What are you counting on your fingers? Oh no, he's still counting, but I don't know. What are you counting to?
the third one.
The third
It's a
leg
joke.
Oh, you but
I did it.
No, he's
I did it.
He's meaning that the tripod ain't got that much of a kickstand.
So one of my legs is shorter.
Wiener
and I
joke.
said the third one.
Wiener joke.
No, I was talking about
Wiener joke.
I was-
I got it.
I was
Thank
talking
you.
about
I got it.
one of my actual.
No, I get it.
You have physically injured Marcus with the fictitious story of my little wiener.
It was
My
him.
little wiener, my little wiener,
It
was Dane.
pony.
my little
Song.
wiener
Is that what that is?
tails.
Jeez.
You know they have tons. Have you played? You played D&D.
A few times.
You've played it.
Yes.
You've played it.
Yeah.
Have we all only played like the standard D&D, or have you played?
No, I ran a superhero, like
You
kind
did-
of a
I-
homebrew situation. You played
was
it.
with
Yeah,
it.
you
Yeah,
played
I
it with
actually
me.
tried to run a like Angels and Demons type campaign for GURPS.
I played Dungeons and Dragons, and I also played a offshoot that was based in space amongst different alien races called Cosmic Enforcers. And Cosmic Enforcers, I used to play on the phone with my friend Jesse, who now owns a gaming shop and D&D station in Sparta. But we used to call each other and we'd talk over the phone. And I had a what was that movie? Small Soldiers, like a Small Soldiers
Yes,
headset telephone that would attach like via cord to the wall, and you could just sit there with the headset on. But it had a voice changer on it, so whenever it was time for my character, I would change it to a different voice, and it would be great because it would go from just my normal talking voice to drop down into a normal talking voice and talk like this one, you know.
Like Bane.
Do you guys want to just...
Small soldiers, big battles.
It was great.
I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
Probably.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do you guys want to do a D&D campaign and us record it as part of the podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah?
That'd
that
be
would be
okay.
a blast.
I'll
As
run
long
one.
as you
I'll
can
run
edit
one.
out all the sex.
I'll run.
I want to
Swords and
I want to
sheaths
murder
and
as
hilts
many
and-
real people as possible.
Done.
That's what I want.
I just want to play a game where I can kill people and get away with it.
Yeah,
I just want to
nothing
chop
else.
off boobies.
I think honestly there was something in there about that. There was like they were talking about
So
like
something-
they were talking about the random
Mutilation?
what is it, the crit fail table?
Yeah.
And so there was
yeah,
like
yeah.
one of them's like breast chopped off or something. Like there was some. They were just looking at the
one of my
crit
favorite
tables
things.
and being like, "See how violent this game is," as if that happens like every like
You,
5 seconds.
you can do some violent things.
Sure.
If you get unique with things like. With
But there's
your
also
thought
like
process.
you can like think like it just depends on what kind of game you're running. Like you could run just like a really happy like My Little Unicorn game.
What kind would you like to do?
Me?
This is still in the realm of this conversation. We can discuss
Yeah,
that. Here.
yeah.
This could work.
It's going to be...
I have books for.
I want to do homebrew. I don't even want to do
Oh.
the regular dice system because in a regular dice system, there's so many dice that you can use. There's a lot of rolling, and I think that you guys are clever enough and have a good enough imagination that I think we can progress the story and it be entertaining enough, like story-wise, for decisions to be made not by chance rolls, but by like how clever you are with the situations and how me as a benevolent DM would allow
Our
those
Lord
situations to play it
God.
as me
Our
as God.
Lord.
Yes.
Aw, God Dane.
That's me. But yeah, so I think there would be a roll system, but it's
Yep.
going to be like pass or fail, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's something I've wanted to do for a while, but never really found a situation to do it.
I found one for you.
Called the buddy roll. What's up, buddy roll?
Yeah.
Hey,
but
buddy roll.
But anyway,
bud roll.
yeah, we'll do more of that whenever. Yeah,
Deal.
It'll be good.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I'll take the next couple
Next
weeks.
time on the Grapevine.
I'll take it the next couple weeks, or we'll call it Journey Through the Grapevine.
Drop names of cities, characters that you want us to be, some flaws maybe you want to see us play with,
Or just
anything at all.
give us some kind of feedback in general at all via posting on our social media sites or
The episode's not
us.
over. We don't do that part yet. I'm
No,
the one
I'm
that
just-
messes up when we say things.
I'm not-
I
I'm
thought
that
we
one.
were there.
I'm the one that
no,
doesn't give the
I
intro.
know.
I'm the one that doesn't
No,
say
I
the
just-
Twitter handle.
He's Leonardo.
No, I'm
and
just-
I'm Raphael.
all I'm saying is just
Donatello,
like I
remember
wish that
we
we
talked
got
about
more
this.
feedback from people on stuff because I would love to hear what you want us to talk about on those things because when we're going into a future aspect now. We're talking about things we're going to do in the future.
This is-
what would you enjoy most to hear about?
Put it on the polls.
What I would enjoy most to hear about is Richard's topic for the day.
Dang. Segue.
Caught me off guard.
I know I did.
Is your topic segues?
I wish. Subways, actually.
The sandwiches?
No.
Eat fresh loaves of bread with sandwiches.
I just want to talk to you guys about a TV show coming out at the end of this month
Ooh.
and our thoughts on it.
Is it the Mandalorian?
Way to go.
All right.
You want the
I'm sorry.
topic?
No.
You
no,
want the
just-
topic?
You take my
No,
segment.
go ahead.
You take my
Go
segment.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Take the topic.
I'm sorry.
Topic it up.
You introduced it like it was a mystery.
Topic
and
it
I was
up.
like, oh, I solved
Mystery?
your
Mystery?
solved your riddle.
Mystery? Think I'm a mystery box?
Yeah, you are. You're probably the
Who
most
gave the
mystery
TED
box.
Talks about the mystery box?
Jar Jar Abrams.
I
would be furious.
Talk
if
about
he
Mando.
I want to talk to everyone about it. I'm excited for it. Love it. I thought the first season was amazing.
Yeah.
I've heard two things, I think, about it that kind of ruined some things for me.
For this next season?
Yeah.
Like spoilers stuff?
It's a minor spoiler. I'd kind of assumed, just based on the timeline and some of the cartoons, that we would interact with some other characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard who was playing one of the characters I thought was going to be in it, so it kind of confirmed my assumptions.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm pretty excited to see her acting because I don't think I've ever seen her in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen her as a wrestler.
Brooke Hogan.
Oh,
Is in the Star Wars universe.
She can fit, but barely.
nope. Nope. Do you guys know who Sasha Banks is?
I know the name.
The boss?
I thought the boss was wasn't in
Bruce
the Music
Springsteen.
Man. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen. The Music Man.
Oh, that was.
I know. I'll call myself out on not knowing anything about it.
Music Man.
Yeah. Who is the Music Man? That's Bruce.
Do you know who she's going to play?
Do you want to spoil it?
Do I want to?
Okay.
I know it. I feel like I
Skip
should
ahead
spoil you
15
guys.
seconds.
Is it
if you don't want it. No, sure. Wait, what? Really? Ahsoka is going to be live action in this show?
Yep.
That makes me so happy.
I know.
That's really cool.
Ahsoka was pretty much the main character in the Clone Wars series.
That's going to be a lot of makeup.
That was the first main non-movie canon character that everybody got stuck to. Everybody loves her.
She was.
They wrote a book about her. They
Anakin's
brought her
Padawan.
into. Yep, they brought her into Rebels as a wise ancient person, that comes through and helps them, gives them advice. I think she actually does the time traveling with them there in that time span. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, Ezra saves her in the dimensional doors that he's walking through. I'm not a big fan of the time traveling thing in it, so I don't like to talk
Yeah,
about
I
it
know you
much.
lost me there. I haven't seen
But
all of Rebels yet.
it's-
I've never heard
Yeah.
you admit to not liking anything about any Star Wars.
Oh, you
ever.
should listen to me talk more often. All I do is talk bad about
He's
it.
right. Most
All I
of
do
it's
is talk bad
it's
about it.
positive.
No, I don't. I don't like time traveling. Period. I think it ruins a lot of things. And once they opened that into there, I felt like it just opened up a lot of doors for a lot of bad writing.
A lot of people say that about Harry Potter, the time turner or whatever.
Harry Potter, Harry Potter.
I didn't know Harry Potter had time traveling.
Are you trying to summon him by saying him like 3 times?
Dumbledore.
You might be able to.
No, it's Harry Potter Puppet Pals. It's a YouTube video.
Yeah. I've seen that.
We're 4 best friends gathered.
No, we already did it. I didn't
didn't do it
forget
this
this
time.
time.
Ron,
we forgot.
Ron Weasley.
But I'm excited for the Darksaber too.
That
was
was-
one of the things at the very end that I was like, yes, this is awesome. I love it. The lore behind it's amazing.
Yeah.
Didn't they tease that in the one you talked about before, Rogue One?
Yes.
They mentioned- they mentioned
it was
Rogue-
one of the files
Yep.
in
Darksaber.
but it's actually in the cartoon, The Clone Wars. Also,
What type of file that was?
JPEG.
Hey, good work, fellas. You
I'm
did
out
it.
of here.
Attaboy.
You did it.
Would
I'm
you
out.
would you like 2 PDFs or 63,000 individual JPEGs?
That's a good question.
Did you see how much they had to scroll? Those were JPEGs.
It was a lot, and it stopped. It froze mid scroll.
The first, what I really like about the first season of Mandalorian, which at the same time is a part that I don't like about it, is that it was kind of the up until towards the end of the first season, it was kind of a baddie of the week kind of thing, to where each episode, maybe the first, how many episodes were in the first season? Do you remember? 8.
I was gonna say 8 or I thought 8. I could be wrong.
I think
Is it 7?
7. Might be one more.
Maybe more. Yeah, do some Googling while I'm talking. Ask Jeeves, actually. He probably knows.
We used to tell a butler to Google things for us.
Yeah, and he did. And he would.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. But for the first half of the season, like those episodes could be their own standalone things. And I think it was an attempt to get people that feel overwhelmed by the Star Wars universe to let them ease into something that isn't like massive with all this Republic and Rebels and all this other.
It was very simple.
It was very simple, but it was effective. There were 8 episodes. Okay.
It's a very simple story, designed for younger people,
Yeah.
but as an older individual, you could also enjoy it because it also had some depth as far as some of the characters.
Well, and then Baby Yoda, like which I
child.
don't agree with the name because he's not Yoda.
Yeah.
But that's just
He's
what
not
he
Yoda,
Yoda's
says.
a
that's-
name, not a creature.
that's being
or a
xenophobic.
race.
Well, that's not what they called him in the show, though.
The child.
Xenophobic.
That's just what
He's a
everybody else.
child.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, yeah,
But he's
the
not
child.
even a child.
Yeah, because he's probably
He's 50.
I mean,
He's
he's in
50 years old.
he's in the adolescence of his race.
He's right behind
Is he?
me.
yeah, yes.
He's staring into my
How do you know?
back.
It's the cutest little
We
toy
know
ever.
nothing about his race.
Yes, we do.
No.
Yeah.
Not Yoda's?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Or is Yoda just like the Methuselah of his race? Like
We thought he was the only one.
Is he? Tell me something about that race other than anything you know about Yoda.
Do we even know the name of his race?
No.
Yeah.
Go. We'll wait all day.
I would wait all day too because I just
There's no information.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I wanted
He
it.
could be the only person that lives that old.
But I wanted, how we're supposed to be getting like the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I wanted a Yoda origin so bad.
We may
I
get
don't.
one.
I want
No.
one.
I like him being a mystery.
Leave him
but
the
you know
mystery.
how this stuff works. They don't want
I don't
mysteries
know how it
anymore. Like
works.
Well, they just want Yoda
Yeah, I
that-
just wanted to see.
to sell Yoda
No.
toys.
I just want to see.
No.
I want to see.
What could you
Midichlorians.
get from?
yeah, let's
I'm
just
about to
have
flip a
let's just
table.
have a Disney Plus show called Midichlorians
Oh,
and just see what
Midichlorians.
happens.
It's like a science documentary about
Yeah.
like
How they
what all they've
evolved.
discovered about the midichlorians.
Oh.
Yeah.
You looking at them under the microscope
I'd
and
be
everything.
furious. It's not even a microscope. You just pin somebody with a needle and you look at a paternity test is what it looked like. It's like
Oh, you're positive,
Positive.
for midichlorians.
Positive for the
yeah.
Force.
You got it.
Nobody's
you
got
got
Been
the
impregnated
corona.
by the Force.
Gross.
So you don't want a
I don't want a Yoda.
you don't want a
origins.
Yoda origins
No,
thing.
not at all.
Yeah,
I mean, it
The
seems like it'd be
Obi-Wan
really
thing-
hard to make look good. I feel like
because it'd be CGI, but
yeah,
Yeah, the whole thing would be CGI, unless you just did like more of an anime style one. Which
Yeah.
I'm not against anime Star Wars.
Yeah,
movies.
like who said
Yeah.
that it had to be at a live action? Like,
Yeah, it could be like
imagine them doing an
yeah.
animated series style origins
Clone
movie.
Wars
for
I don't,
Yoda.
style.
I don't want to see a village of Yodas. I don't want to see
Oh, yeah.
anything like that. That
I mean,
would
if it's done well, I do. But I don't want just some. Oh well, he comes from this little
what
place,
could be
and that's
done
what he
well?
did until he became Yoda.
what would satisfy you though? That's the question. What could they tell as an origin story
I have
that
no
would
idea.
satisfy your need for an origin?
I'm perfectly fine with
I
him
don't think
being
he
the
necessarily
mystery.
even needs an origin. I mean, if there's something
Right.
interesting, about his story as a younger,
Well, we're getting into
Man?
that. We're getting into his story 200 years ago with the High Republic. He's a young 700.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that he was going to be a part of this. I thought it was the High Republic was going to be well before like Yoda's time. I thought it was way back.
No, just 200 years before episode 1, I believe, is the time frame
So
for
all the other characters that we know are not going to be a part of it, but Yoda will. He'll be the
it.
like.
He's part of the
So this
council.
is before the discovery of midichlorians. So this is where it's still a mystical force, and we can erase it that it exists
Maybe I don't know.
I
temporarily.
don't know when they discovered it because I
Yeah,
don't
because
look it
all
up.
they do is mention it in the movie.
Yeah,
So
maybe
maybe
it was Qui-Gon's just like wild hair theory.
drunk
Like,
Qui-Gon just
it was like a conspiracy theory.
They don't exist though. Whatever.
it was Qui-Gon that mentioned it, wasn't it? In the like as the Force Spirit, or was he
No,
still
it was
alive? when he
Actually,
said
I
it?
think
book. It was in the
Obi-Wan
first movie.
says it. He says his midichlorian count is off the charts.
Okay.
But it was in a conversation with
Gotcha.
Qui-Gon.
Okay.
God,
I think
I
there's
hate
a
that.
way that they could reel that in, the midichlorian thing, but I do like that they've just ignored it completely. Like even the creators of everything Star Wars now have just completely, they're like, no, that's not. No,
Because they
we
know,
it's
the
in
hatred.
the movie, but
they
it's
know
not
the
canon.
hatred everybody has for measuring a power level of Force users. Because then you could just say, "Oh, well, this guy's more powerful." But it's way more than that. There's artifacts that can
There's-
amplify power. I mean, there's
You got to take into any kind of consideration of somebody who's got, extra techniques that have held them
Right.
Like, and they can tap into different sides of the force, like the grays.
if you set a power level, you're saying you can't go higher than this. Like this is your max.
Yeah.
No, you can't do anything.
Say that to
you
Dragon
can't
Ball
you
Z.
can't cast this force power because your power level's not high enough. No thought bomb for you, which is probably the coolest force power in the world.
Thought bomb.
Thought bomb. Just so you know.
What's a thought bomb? Is that a
That's a 30-minute discussion, my friend. That's what
give me
that is.
give me the 15-second rundown?
It's a ritual where all the Sith Lords get together for the Brotherhood of Darkness, and they explode an entire planet by bringing in all the life force into one spot and then releasing it.
So a spirit bomb from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a spirit bomb.
Well, you told me to simplify it,
That's awesome.
but it's way more than that. Way more.
So it's more than the
In the
collective
original,
energies.
it might actually still be canon. They've erased the storyline that it came from, but they have verified the main character of that storyline, and they have also given him credit for reestablishing the rule of two, which is what his book was about. So that
What's the rule of two for those who don't know?
there can only be two, one master and one apprentice
Of the Sith.
of the Sith. Yeah.
And that's not just the
specific
dark side.
Yeah, correct.
Many people can access the dark side and use
The dark side of the Force is just the dark side of the Force.
Right.
The
Sith
Sith are
is a
just the
specific
most
religion.
extreme practitioners of the dark side of the Force because they practice to obsess over it. But Darth Bane brought it back from Darth Revan, who invented it. He reestablished the rule of two. But Bane basically convinces everybody that the only way to stop the Jedi is to drop a thought bomb in the middle of a battle. And he convinces all the Dark Brotherhood to do it. I'm getting so into this because I love it. He convinces the entire Brotherhood to do it, and then he jumps the planet and leaves. So all the bad guys blow up all the good guys, and he's the only one that survived. And then he flies off to a distant planet, and for like 20 years hides in the shadows and begins building the Sith Empire by himself with no help until he can find an apprentice to
It's worthy of.
And who was his apprentice?
Darth Xana.
And who was her apprentice?
Darth Cognus.
And who was that apprentice?
Darth Cognus actually got killed, I believe, before, or no.
Who was Palpatine's teacher?
Plagueis.
Yeah, Plagueis. And then Plagueis's was...
Y'all, I'm doing this for you.
No.
I'm doing this for you, listeners.
Everybody listens like these are just made up names. They could be saying anything they
I
want
know
right now.
Plagueis is. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Darth Evil Sister.
There's a random spot in the history of it where they actually break off of the Sith religion, and there's like 3 different versions of the Sith.
Does that like include like the sisters and things like
It's like if you ever played Knights of the Old Republic 2, they follow the triad of the Sith, so there's 3 Sith Lords instead of just 2.
What's amazing is this isn't even as nerdy as Star Wars talk can get.
Oh,
Like,
no. This is very basic.
This is basic
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
It's
we're the
like-
pumpkin spice latte of nerds.
Yeah, somebody like,
Yeah.
oh, you like Star Wars? Like, yeah, Luke,
This is 'cause
Leia,
I had
Han.
3
They're like,
minutes
no,
real quick.
This is the basic stuff.
Yeah.
I had to simplify a thought bomb. I hope you realize that.
I'm
In
perfectly
15
fine.
Yeah,
seconds.
we understand
I'm
it because we
perfectly
watched
fine
Dragon
with
Ball
that.
Z.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What happens with that, though, to their souls?
To their souls,
Yeah.
they're only sharing the energy.
Right.
Then after
So-
after it's depleted, their soul will have to rebuild them. Well, it'll have to build back up, but it takes time.
The thought bomb traps your soul in that space that you occupied. So if you were to die right there because of the thought bomb, your soul would be trapped in that exact spot. So if I were to walk
Forever?
there, yes, if I were to go there, I would immediately feel your presence and your emotions at that exact time.
Oh.
And it's all over the planet. The entire planet is just covered and littered with souls of Force users that died in a moment's notice during a battle.
Then Zach sends
pretty
Aaron in there
brutal.
to chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty
amazing.
cool.
The to get to that point, like how they build up it's crazy good.
Yeah, the Bane trilogy of books that you
That's
love.
my favorite.
Like,
That's my favorite.
would you
Star
like
Wars.
to see? Was that kind of stuff you would like to see
Absolutely.
made like live action, like made a
Absolutely.
movie out of?
Absolutely.
Because I've heard a lot of people that have read those, like because they're not really canon anymore.
It's a weird.
They just need to
gray
embrace
area.
Star Wars
like, the
canon's so
hardcore
strange.
nerdy.
Yeah.
It's a
They
weird
need to just-
gray area because, like I said, they have verified Bane.
Yeah.
They have verified that he reestablished it, which is what his story arc was.
Right.
I think they even verified that he destroyed the Sith that he was a part of, which is what.
Just to rebuild a new
and
one.
I think they should.
And so
I think they should take the Force out of Star Wars, and I think that they should make it mostly just technological based and take away, just make it something that more people can understand.
You know, for
So-
moms and football players.
Yeah,
Was that
so
what
you-
the creators
there's
said they wanted to do?
There's actually a comic book series based on Darth Vader where a scientist creates a synthetic force and it's technology based. So people will wear like these things on their arms that would give the impression of a force push,
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that.
and he can pull stuff to him. So, but it's just magnetic,
yeah.
or gravitation, anything like that. But he actually creates 6 synthetic force users, and the whole like comic series is about Vader proving what was better, him with the real force or this doctor who's perfected technology and can mimic it.
How about how quickly the writers of the show that were talking like that got booted?
The Game of Thrones writers that were going to be doing the newest Star Wars.
Did you
like
not
a new
know
Star
that?
Wars.
That's what they were wanting to do? That they were actually wanting? That's why they got booted from the show?
It's because they wanted to do a synthetic.
No, because they wanted to do away with the Force and make the Star Wars less fantasy based and more technological based, so people
Just
could,
like they did with Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then the people from the Star Wars were like, bah,
Yeah.
GTFO.
Why?
Well, just like when they like, hey, we want to call this next movie The Last Jedi, and they're like, but this is not the Last Jedi though.
Right.
'Cause
We
that
know.
word takes makes us way too much
Wait.
money.
Who's not the Last Jedi?
I'm just saying,
Oh,
we
no,
all
don't-
know
don't
that
get
this is
him.
not the
Don't
last
get him.
He
Jedi.
asked
Don't
the
get
question.
him.
Well,
Well, the last practitioner of the Jedi religion.
I'm just saying I don't understand
Who was
marketing
it?
that well, but I understand that the word Jedi and the Force are never going away if Star Wars is going to be successful.
Well, if you call it The Last Jedi, people are going to be even more interested in like, what does that mean?
That's what
And
got
you-
me. I was
yeah.
and I think that's ultimately my biggest disappointment in the movie. But we can go into
we'll
that
talk
later.
about.
Yeah.
How
Let me
about-
say
yeah.
one last Star Wars thing,
Okay. Yeah.
and it's not even related to this topic at all, but it's Star Wars related. That's all it is. I'm reading the new book right now.
So
the
oh,
new
okay.
Thrawn book,
Okay. Yeah.
Ascendancy, Chaos Rising.
Okay.
Amazing book.
Okay.
Sounds so metal.
The Chiss Ascendancy has this practice that I just think is really awesome. It's a shout out just to Star Wars in general.
it's a Star Wars book that's giving a shout out to Star Wars.
You'll see.
Seems a little indulgent if you ask me.
You'll understand.
The meta in this is
You'll
so
understand.
weird.
It'll make perfect sense.
Yeah.
So this book takes place in about episode 1 and 2, somewhere between there. And eventually, who this book is about, Thrawn, he meets Anakin Skywalker eventually. And they actually, the other book series is about Thrawn and Anakin working together.
This is after Anakin's already gone to the dark
That's
side.
no. This is in episode 3. Is when he actually works with Anakin Skywalker. Like he actually, like as Anakin.
No, okay. Yeah, because Anakin goes from Anakin to Vader pretty much immediately.
But so in the Chist culture, they have force sensitive children from the age of they become force sensitive at 5 and they lose it at about 13. And they're navigators for their naval fleet. And they help warp them through all these, like they call it the chaos, which is like where they live. And it's just meteors. It's very difficult to navigate through it. So they have to have force sensitive children that are raised for it. But they call those children Skywalkers. And it's been in their culture for hundreds of years.
And so when Rey becomes a Skywalker,
But not just that, but when Thrawn meets Anakin Skywalker, and Skywalker is the first real Jedi person he's ever met, he's like, wow, why do we call our people Skywalkers? There must be a connection here. It's just really neat.
yeah. My segment's going to be a quick one because you guys had 2 big ones that I really enjoyed. Yeah. There you go. There's a little sound bite for you. Nom, 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 nom. My segment's going to be a question.
Oh no.
My answer is yes.
Erosion.
Austin?
What do you got? What's your answer?
Quick!
I don't have one. Vaporization.
Okay, there we go. What if Batman not rich?
Oh.
What if Batman not rich?
Then no
Batman
one.
fight evil with no money.
What if Batman not rich?
Batman die soon.
Batman die soon because Batman not rich?
No.
No.
Batman's smart.
Batman's smart.
Rich not make Batman smart.
What if Batman not rich from get go? Or what if
Batman
Batman
never
not,
rich?
So Batman dad not
What
rich.
if Batman never rich?
Not,
Batman orphan.
Why do we just start talking like this? This is getting confusing.
What if, so
Like, did they all just
glitching out.
it'd be the same scenario with what if Tony Stark wasn't rich? It's any of those billionaire, tech inventors / superhero
But
detectives.
he himself is not the inventor of the technology, correct?
It depends on what iteration of Batman you're going through because the Lucius Fox thing is a
Well,
lot
that's what
of
I'm
them.
asking. What is the
Are you talking about Iron Man or
Batman?
Batman. What technology are you talking about?
Any.
Like
Does-
the
does
Batmobile
Batman-
and stuff?
Yeah, he doesn't
Oh, the
design
Batmobile's just a
those.
big, cool car. Yeah, Lucius Fox does most of that. But I'm sure he gives them the ideas. That's like
Yeah.
James Bond.
Like, does it come in black?
Yeah. Ha, 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 ha,
gray?
ha, 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 ha.
How many shades of gray? That's the thing.
50.
What if he wasn't rich? That story immediately becomes
So we're just flipping my whole thing into what if what if the main guy from 50 Shades of Grey?
What we want to actually talk about.
No, it's fine. I didn't really want to.
I'm just saying I think that one's a little bit more crucial.
What if he was Bruce Wayne? What if 50 Shades of Grey is actually Bruce Wayne in all his sexcapades?
It's
like while being Batman
It's an
also.
offshoot. Yeah. It's what he's doing when he's not fighting crime.
And my grandmother enjoyed that book.
I was man, I don't want to hijack your topic.
It's done. It's over. We already figured out what if Batman not rich. What if Batman not rich means 50 Shades of Grey.
He asked the question.
I did, and you
This
answered.
is the answer we're giving.
That was your
him.
answer.
He's not
So-
happy with it. It's not our fault.
No,
I think money is actually one of Batman's superpowers if he actually was to
Yeah.
consider
See,
having
I
a
disagree.
He
superpower.
wouldn't have any of his gadgets.
I've never viewed, and I understand money is the big thing of how he gets all this stuff. But I have never just sat down and been like, he's Batman because he's rich.
If he
I've
wasn't,
never in
if he
my life
wasn't
had that
rich, he
impression.
wouldn't have had the access to the educational system that he did. He would be another failed member of society, just like the Joker.
If Batman not rich, Batman Joker.
If Batman not
no.
rich, Batman Joker.
No.
Yeah. Batman,
Batman-
is crazy
Money did
like
not
the
give
Joker
him
is, but he's
morals.
rich.
Money did not give him morals.
No, but money
But his rich
did.
parents did.
No, they did not.
Money did not give him morals. No.
No.
The butler that his parents hired to take care
He
of
gave
him
him
gave him
morals.
morals.
Actually,
Yeah.
Thomas
I read
Wayne was
theory
kind of a
that the
douchel.
butler had the parents murdered because he wanted to raise the child to become a crime fighter himself.
Yeah, that's
Where
a
has this-
stupid idea. Whoever
Wait.
said that is wrong.
Did you say this is already a thought, or is this your
I-
thought?
I came up with it this weekend.
You did.
Okay, good. I was hoping it wasn't something credible.
Like what? So you're saying Alfred
Alfred hired somebody
to kill
to kill the people that
Thomas
pay
and
his
Martha
bills.
Wayne?
so that he could raise Bruce.
To be Batman, he hasn't figured out yet to be because
No,
he's,
he knew.
how'd he know? Why'd you look at me like I should know how he
Because
knew?
you should know
Because no
how
one
he
knew.
knows.
No one knew that Bruce Wayne was
Name
going to be
one
Batman.
question the butler has never answered. Sometimes people are just crazy. That's one of his answers.
The child of Ra's al Ghul made the crime.
That was Batman.
Sorry, I don't know.
That was definitely Batman.
You're
I don't
telling
know.
me
Yeah.
that Alfred.
Listen, man, I'm telling you, I was sitting there the other day and I thought about it.
In how many iterations of Batman
I was in
did the
one-
Joker kill his parents?
Uh,
Or is that
there's-
just the movie?
only
there's
a couple.
Been,
Like,
there's been a couple.
But why wouldn't
But that's
Alfred
Joe
just
Chill.
hire him?
Huh?
What if Alfred created the Joker and Batman by hiring the Joker to kill Batman's parents? And so he was setting up a rivalry that he could, like, father
Why?
over.
Answer me that.
Yeah,
Why?
I gotta
Because
know
he
why.
needed a purpose.
Jack Napier was the name of the Joker in the original movie. Napier.
Close to rapier, which is a sword.
If Batman no rich, Batman be Joker. That's my opinion.
No, I disagree with that full-heartedly.
He's insane. He's an insane individual who goes against like the reason he is the superhero is because he's scared of that. He's scared of bats.
I have actually read the book, The Psychology of Batman.
It's in
So
his
he's an
bathroom.
expert.
It's
in
his
my
bathroom.
I actually
It
did
does have-
notice that when we were
Thank
at your
you.
house.
It is there. That's where I came up with the idea.
Does it talk about if Batman not rich?
No, it just talks about all of the decisions he makes and why he makes them.
Maybe.
It doesn't go into a hypothetical if he was not who he was. It goes into, this is a scenario he was in. This is a situation that happened. Let's figure out why he actually made that exact decision and whether or not that decision was actually moral or if it was just based on emotions. Mm-hmm. It's a very neat book. Very neat book. You find out like on how many emotional based actions that are unjustified morally that Batman actually makes and how many moral actions the Joker actually makes because he's so chaotic that he has no bias on any of his stuff. And a lot of things he does is actually slightly moral.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Maybe Batman is the bad guy. He's the shadowy billionaire that
He's the biased one that has an objective that he is trying to get pressed on anybody and everybody.
and it's
And it
kind of
might not actually be the
It's-
correct viewpoint.
Yeah, it's what his form of justice is.
Yeah.
This is
That's what
where
he-
his like him and Superman. This is where they clash because Superman sees this. Like he sees that's
But then he's like, "Hey, are you Superman?"
yeah exactly.
So
Like
we-
he's like, you're doing the same thing as I am, just in the sunlight and
With more powers.
more powers. Yeah, so
You're stronger.
I like their friendship, but also their disagreements and how they can still have a friendship. But
That's one of the things I liked most about Batman vs Superman the movie was the whole philosophical question of like, should we deify Superman like we do, or
or is he just
like
another
that.
guy? Like,
That-
which is why the Martha thing is it's okay. Like it's weird. It's kind of weird that the pacing wise, you're in the biggest battle of the whole thing before the big battle happens at the end. But just the name
It made
Martha.
sense. It was executed poorly.
Yeah.
It made
Because-
sense.
Because
yeah, I mean, because it just comes off so like what?
Yeah.
Instead of like the audience like automatically understanding.
yeah, this
that,
makes
this is humanizing him.
yeah, exactly. Superman has a mother, and it's also the same name as Batman's. Like what? That's
And then comes the following scene of the greatest Batman fight ever to be in cinematic history. The warehouse fight.
yeah, it's really good.
The
And so-
warehouse fight.
I disagree.
What Batman?
do.
What Batman
Well,
movie
you go
fight is
straight to
better
hell.
than that?
But I think I like this one because it's shorter. I don't know. I'm a fan of a short fight scene because
I agree with you.
Because it doesn't drag
Sometimes,
out.
yeah, sometimes.
Well,
fight
and
scenes
it's
drag
not
too
even
long.
really a fight scene. I know this is going to sound. I don't even really know how to.
It's just
explain
it's a him being a beat 'em up.
We got to explain it in 1 minute. So go.
I think the moment where Batman is driving at the Joker in the Dark Knight and then turns at the last second and he's getting shot at.
Hit me.
That one.
You would consider that a fight scene?
Well, see, that's why I started thinking about it because like the whole thing leading up to it is kind of like it's a chase.
There's
scene,
no like
right?
contact. Like it's not a...
Not like
Well, then, that's
He
the
could have
thing.
just
I would
opened the
kick him.
door on him. He didn't even have to run him over. Just he's standing there. He's not trying to move. He could just ride by and just go, "Boop." Ow.
That would kill him.
Would it?
Yes,
Nah.
I thought about it. It would.
Okay.
If you're driving full speed in the Batmobile and you open the door on somebody, that's like
That's
slamming
curb
into... Yeah.
stomping.
I don't know. I'm not a
And that's the end of the episode. Go to Twitter. Follow us at Nerd Grapevine. Instagram, Nerd Through the Grapevine.
He hates this thing now.
Go to Marcus's house.
BestFriendsTinyInk.com.
Send him to
that's a
Marcus's
website.
house. Put his address on there.
Marcus's
Put his address. Fan mail. Send all our fan mail to
we
him.
don't have P.O. boxes. Just send it straight to the house.
Straight to Marcus's place.
I had a po' boy sandwich, not a po' box.
Also, when life gives you grapes.
Put them on your po' boy.
That's not a bad idea.
I think it is. I think it is a bad idea.
Drop frozen grapes into the deep fryer.
No.